I'm hoping to be extremely brief this morning, but I wanted to leave with you some points. And this is for the listening public, that the aid bank is a creature of the state. And by virtue of it being a creature of the state, it means that all of the liabilities belong to the state. So for example, the bank borrows money from international regional financial institutions. In almost 100% of those cases, the loans must be guaranteed by the state with what is called a sovereign guarantee, which means, in essence, that if the bank fails or is unable to pay its creditors, then the Treasury of Dominica has a legal obligation to repay the sums borrowed by the aid bank. And in some cases, the government itself provides direct financing to the aid bank under some special loan agreements. So it is important for us to understand that those of us who are not clients of the bank, as citizens by virtue of the fact that you are citizens of Dominica, you have a responsibility to the bank, one way or the other. And therefore, it is important for us, and I know I have been taken to task by some people in the Dominican population, for saying to people that we must respect our legal agreements. If we borrow, there is a responsibility to repay. And if you're experiencing difficulties in repaying, then you must go to the bank and engage the bank in discussions to see whether they can refinance or extend your loan repayments. But by neglecting the responsibility and being also publicly defiant of those, of your dereliction of responsibility and duty, is not sitting well with our country. Because you are in fact denying more job creation in the country. You're denying more entrepreneurs to be developed in the country because you're denying somebody else opportunity. And therefore it is incumbent on the bank and its clients to ensure that the bank continues to be buoyant with resources available to it so that it can lend to people. I know also that the bank has submitted a proposal to the Exim Bank of China, and you have had discussions with the bank, of the Exim Bank of China, with a view to borrowing a certain amount of funds from the Exim Bank to unlend to the private sector of Dominica. Our hope is that your application will be successful, because if it becomes successful, it would be a major plus to the bank, first and foremost, but also importantly to the Dominican economy. Because at the Exim Bank, the bank would borrow at about 2%, and of course you'll be able to unlend to your customers, to your clients, at no more than 6%, allowing you to make a decent profit. So let us continue negotiations, and I want to commend the board for its engagement with Exim Bank, and our hope is that we can be successful at your negotiations. The government is discussing engaging the bank on 3 additional areas and portfolios which it would like the bank, we hope that the bank will manage on its behalf. One has to do with financing to farmers to invest in livestock farms in the country, particularly with chicken and pigs, to supply the abattoir. And of course, I know that the Ministry of Agriculture and the Cabinet are engaging themselves in discussions to see how best to go about making those funds available to ensure that we are able to take advantage of the abattoir and critically reduce on the import bill of meats, chicken parts and pig parts to Dominica. But at the end of the day, no matter how much investment the government makes, the success of those investments reside and rely with us, the Dominican consumers. We have a choice when we go to the supermarkets to either purchase that which has been imported, or demand from the merchants that you want local stuff to help the local economy. So if we want to reduce the food import bill, we have, in many respects, in our hands, that power to reduce it. The governments cannot be blamed for the food import bill if we, the consumers, prefer the imported items. So we have to look at our conscience and our own national responsibility and to determine which we're going to support, whether foreign or local. The second facility which we are discussing within the government system is a special facility for serious, and I underscore the word serious, musicians in Dominica. I think, and I've been discussing with musicians in Dominica, up to yesterday I met with the representative body, and they'll be engaging with funds from the government on a couple training, bringing some international experts to train our local musicians on the art form. Because I believe that there is much more we can benefit from our musicians. But there are things that they have to pay particular attention to, especially with regards to professionalism of the art form and the way they conduct their business. Because you are entering into legal contracts, and as you see these days, a number of musicians, international stars, are being subjected to serious lawsuits for breach of contracts. And therefore we have to ensure that our musicians understand the fundamentals of being in the business. And once they understand that, I believe the music industry can contribute much, much more to the GDP than it currently is providing. And we need the foreign exchange. When a band leaves Dominica and it goes to St. Thomas, and your band fee is $20,000 US, that's $20,000 US you're bringing in as foreign exchange into the country. And all of these things added up can have a very positive impact on the way of life of all of us in Dominica. And the third facility, which we'll be continuing to discuss and hoping to engage the bank on, is a special facility to assist existing hotels and guest houses and restaurants to improve their properties. But again, there must be conditions. It cannot be look money and don't account for it. When you come, you have to come with proper documents and proper plans and a clear vision and a clear mission of what you want to do with your existing property. Because the bank is not a welfare department. The bank is a financial institution. And the bank must respect international financial jurisprudence and so forth, and the way it conducts its business. And not because it is a government entity, it must relax its jurisprudence responsibility. The fiduciary responsibility of the bank must continue to respect if it is going to be part of the financial system of Dominica and indeed the Caribbean. I want to say to the bank that you have my absolute support. Contrary to what many people think, I do not get involved in the bank's operations. I give the bank clear policy directions. I do not get involved in the bank's operations. There are some things they do I don't agree with, and all I can say is express my concerns. I will express them privately. Not today. I will save them for my private counsel. I meet with the new board very soon. But just to say, I am very grateful to the board for the leadership that it continues to provide to the bank. And I'm also grateful to the management for its leadership at the management level. We all must understand, whether you are the chairman of the board or the security guard of the bank, that you have a national duty. And you are serving people. The bank does not belong to the chairman of the board, it doesn't belong to the general manager, it doesn't belong to the staff, it belongs to the people of Dominica. And the people of Dominica have a right to question and have a right to criticize when they feel that they have a right to do so. But of course, obviously, with respect and within reason. And we have to always be responsive and receptive to the concerns raised by the general public. Because at the end of the day, the bank belongs to them. We are merely custodians of this institution and not the owners of the institution. So I want us to make sure that we listen to the customers. As irate as it may be, as unfounded as their statements may be, let us listen to them, give them a hearing ear, so that at the end of the day, you can bring them to understand what is it the issue is, and simply leaving them out of the cold. I recognize that the bank has made a profit. I have continuously said to the bank that while the government, the government, the majority shareholder, does not receive dividends, that the bank may want to consider setting up a special account at the bank. And what would have been the dividend given to government, you put this separately from your operation, because really and truly, you pay the DSS as required by law, dividends, and we're not grudging the DSS at all, because it's important that we manage the pensioners' money wisely and the pensioners' investment. But I would like the bank, and of course the Financial Secretary will represent the government at the private sessions after this opening session, and I would like for the FS again to raise, as she has done continuously, raise the issue of government dividends. We do not want it really, but set it up in a special account. So 3 years down the road we can say, okay, you have 3 million. Let us see which small businesses we can help. What special arrangement we can have with women in agriculture, or some cottage industry, or youth at risk. How can we use this money to help the special cases in the country and so forth? And I'm sure, I cannot speak on behalf of DSS, but I'm sure DSS will support government at the shareholders meeting, and so that there can be unanimity on the shareholders' stance to set up this special account. Again, I am not in a position to impose myself on the bank. As you realize, they have not listened to me for the last 12 years. I've been speaking to them. So 12 years I've been saying to them, put a special account. And they simply note it in the minutes, and then they do nothing about it and so forth. But I will come and speak directly to the board after the Easter and so on. But I'm very happy to be here. The bank is important to us. And I recall we have received numerous advice to shut down the aid bank. And this government has maintained that the bank is still relevant and important to Dominica. Because had it not been for the aid bank, had it not been for the aid bank and its lending policies, and its wider interest in the Dominican economy, not about profit making, not about how much profit we can boast we make and send it out to Dominica. It is about the clients, it's about investments in Dominica, it's about job creation, it's about growing the economy, it's about going to places where the commercial banks would not want to go. And that's what the aid bank has been doing since its existence, and particularly under this government, where we have made more monies available to the aid bank than any time in its operational history. So the aid bank has to continue to be relevant to Dominica. Because while it is exposed to criticisms from many, but if those who have benefited were to speak publicly and champion the aid bank's cause, I can tell you that that group will be in the far majority than those who believe that they have been less than well treated by the aid bank. And likewise, those of you who are employed in the bank, you have a responsibility to sing the praises of the bank. I really don't hear the bank itself singing its praises, except when you come to its annual meetings. But the bank must speak about its successes, so that with positive information, people can have a better understanding and appreciation. Because this country, our people are becoming too inclined to negativism. We're going completely contrary to the biblical teachings that we must think positively. We have decided to think negatively. And when you think negatively, you'll do negative things. Let us all be champions of positive thinking in the country, and thereby positive actions. Because this country, I keep saying to people, this is not Roosevelt Skerrit's country. The only place that I've seen a place called Roosevelt Island is in New York, and when I check the registry in New York, it doesn't belong to me. This is our country. And if the roads are bad, every one of us will be affected. If our children go astray, all of us will be affected, even if we do not have children of our own. Because they're our neighbors. They're our friends' children. And I think that we have to be greater keepers of our neighbors. And in the time, this Holy Week, those of us who are Christians, who are Catholic Christians, who celebrate Holy Week, the death and the resurrection of Christ, it is an opportune time for us to do our own reflections and to see within us, what is it I am doing positively that I can build on? And what is it I am doing negatively that's not benefiting humankind? That's a benefit to our country. That's placing our country in a less than positive light. And denying our success, our generations, present and future, of opportunities. Why must we, every time we speak, say something negative about Dominica? When we leave Dominica, we must all be ambassadors of this country. But there's some in our midst, whenever they're quoted anywhere out of Dominica and in Dominica, it is something bad about Dominica. Something bad about our country. And unfortunately, there's a minority that applauds that foolishness. We have to stop it. We can't want, in our effort to get to where we would like to get, to destroy everything in its way, in our way. Who's going to rebuild Dominica when we destroy it? Our children. And what kind of Dominica would like to bequeath to our children? Any one of us here or listen to me would like to leave our children on the streets when we leave this earth? Homeless? I don't think so. So why we want to destroy Dominica and not build it up? So Holy Week is a time for us to reflect on our own contribution to humankind. And, you know, I was hoping that my movement to my second vocation, or my third vocation, was a bit earlier, but I've had to delay it by a few more years, you know, to lead a church. And I was saying to the church leaders that they should not be worried about my entry into the clergy, because I will not be competing with them. I'm targeting the non-church goers in Dominica, and that's in the majority. So you can understand how large my church will be. And so. But I want to thank you very much. Thank you to the chairman on the board and management for inviting me. I hope I didn't say anything that caused you any harm or any pain. But whenever I speak, it's not personal at all. It is for the greater good of the country and the well-being of our country, Dominica. So I wish you all the best, the staff and management and the board of 8 Bank. May God continue to bless your efforts, and may God continue to bless this beautiful country of ours.